This is Your Kick-Ass Life Podcast, episode number 211.
And here's your host, the girl who serves it up straight with a side of crazy, Andrea Owen.
Ass Kickers, welcome to another episode of the Daily Diaries. We're officially on week 3 of these, so if you're just joining us, please start at episode 200 so it all kind of makes sense. I mean, you don't have to. I don't mean to be too bossy about it, but I just think they're all so great that it would be more helpful to start at episode 200. But maybe somebody sent you this particular episode and said, you need to listen to this one because I'm about to talk to you about something that I noticed myself doing a few months ago. And that's what happens, when you do this work is you become really self-aware. And I'm not just saying, because I'm a life coach, I'm saying all of you as people who study personal development, when we get curious, we get more aware of what we're doing and patterns and behaviors of what we're doing. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And this whole week has a bit of a theme, and it's going to kind of, just a forewarning, it's going to kind of escalate. I might get a little bit angrier and angrier as the week goes by. No, not really, but kind of. But it's really all about raising hell, and that's what the theme is really for the whole month, but specifically for this week. And what I mean by that is that culturally, we as women have been taught to act and behave a certain way, a way that is quote unquote acceptable, and a way that will have us be more well-liked. And not necessarily outwardly taught to be a certain way by our parents or mentors or teachers, but taught by what we see on a daily basis. Some people call these cultural norms or social norms or things like that. But this is messaging that we've received our whole lives. And one of those things is apologizing. In one of the chapters of my book, it was all about people pleasing and approval seeking in my last book, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And that one I know resonates with so many of you, whether you are both a people pleaser and approval seeker or one or the other. So I'm going to give you a personal example of something that happened a few months ago. And what happened is that I had to email someone who was not following through on their commitments that they had made to me. And it was essentially making my job harder. This person would fall off in the middle of an email conversation and not answer questions I had. So I had to follow up 2, sometimes 3 times. But then they would start a new email telling me something else or asking me questions. So I knew that they were around on email. They were just dropping the ball. So I thought, okay, well, maybe email just isn't this person's strong suit. I mean, of course, I've fallen off the rails when it comes to email before, but we were having a lot of conversations and it was about something very important. And it was stressing me out and causing me, I actually was putting on my to-do list, follow up with so-and-so because I knew that they weren't going to, it was just creating more tasks for me to do. So I asked this person, hey, is there another way that we can do things to make our communication work better? And this person said no. That person thought everything was fine and things continued to fall through the cracks. So, what's coming, right? I knew I was going to have an uncomfortable conversation and basically call it out. So I called on my courage and started an email where I was going to have to tell this person what I saw happening and how I felt about it and be clear that I needed a solution. And in drafting the email, I found myself typing, and I quote, here's what I typed. I'm not trying to be a diva about this. And I stopped myself. And I'm sure we've all either said this or emailed this or sent a text that says this. And it might also look like, I'm sorry to seem like a pain in the ass. I don't want to be that person, but forgive me if this sounds overbearing. And this is what I call, I don't know if this is an actual term, but I call it roundabout apologizing. And raise your hand if you've done this. I've caught myself and less said, I'm sorry when I don't when I know I don't actually need to be, when something is not my fault, when I don't have remorse for something and there's not a mess that I actually need to clean up. But still, I'm not trying to be fill in the blank. In other words, I feel like what we're saying when we say things like, I'm not trying to be a diva about this, or forgive me if this sounds overbearing, what we're essentially saying is, please don't think I'm aggressive. Please don't think I'm a bitch or hard to work with or too demanding, etc. The risk is more than just someone having this opinion. The risk also, when I really sat down to think about it, the risk is that I could get a reputation for being, quote unquote, that way, bitchy or demanding. And that's what I was unconsciously worried about. So I sat on this for a couple of days, y'all. This wasn't just like, let me backspace and delete that sentence and, rewrite it. I really sat with this for a couple of days because, again, this is old messaging, old core beliefs, and it's not easy to just flip it on its head and be like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm going to change the way I think about this. These are stereotypes that we have as women and that can be painful and tricky to work through. But I did end up editing my email to be kind, but still clear that I felt this person is not doing their job. Some people might think I'm a diva. Some people might think I'm demanding or whatever, but I'm at the point now where it hurts worse to apologize for something I don't need to apologize for than to risk being seen as whatever they make up that I am. Is it still incredibly uncomfortable? Yes, it absolutely 100% is. So my challenge for you is to think about where you do this too. Just get curious and watch for it. I understand that in some situations, your job depends on you keeping the peace. And maybe just having this run through your head, this episode, will help you think about speaking up more in meetings, in your partnerships, and in your friendships. Whether you have an idea about something, whether you need something to change, or anything at all where the words need to move out of your mouth. I hope you consider having a throwdown with that old messaging, which I'm sure you can understand what that is. I'm tired of disempowering messaging. Or maybe even you could just get curious about that. Either way, that is an act of raising hell. So what is Raise Hell? It's open for registration right now. It's a 4-month online program. If you go over to yourkickasslife.com/raise-hell, you can read all the information about it. If you sign up, you would join me and a group of amazing women as we break down barriers. What it looks like is values-based hell raising. You get clear on what's important about the way you live your life and taking action on it. It's about you learning how to set boundaries and have hard conversations like I just talked about. It's about you letting go of the old messaging and old patterns of thought about who you think you need to be and making room for who you want to be. It's guided by me. We have weekly video calls that are at various times to accommodate different schedules. And there's built-in accountability, which I'm so excited about. We start next week. Again, yourkickasslife.com/raise-hell. There are links in the show notes. And hey, if you read that info page and you're kind of on the fence about it and not sure if it's for you, I've opened up some time this week in the afternoons and a few morning spots for anyone who is serious about joining, but you have a couple of questions or you just want to do a gut check. You can either reply to the emails that you get from me, or there's a little pop-up at the bottom of that info page where you can message us, or you can shoot an email to support@yourkickasslife.com, and Emily will get you all set up to have a quick chat with me about this program. All right, everyone, I would love to see you over in Raise Hell. We start on Monday, and until next time, I will see you out in cyberspace. Bye-bye.